Yo buddies, welcome back to the place where the cool kids gather to watch the biggest cool kid around, me. Welcome back to my kingdom. It's Chala here, teaching y'all how to make a dope-ass background today. This is going to be more of a how I do backgrounds rather than a how to do backgrounds, because I'm just gonna be walking you guys through how I usually approach doing pics with cool environments. Let's just hop right into it. There's basically three things I focus on when I do my backgrounds: perspective, composition, and lighting. These are all more of like, I don't know, theory things, I guess, but people want to know how to actually draw the things to make a cool composition with a cool perspective and lighting setup out of. Basically, what people want to know is how to actually draw the things. And there is a cool trick you can use, which I'm actually going to start the video out with, which is... oh yes, bitch. You gotta use them references. Everybody does it. I do it. The key here is that you gather a whole lot of references, not just one. You don't just copy one picture. That's just making a study. You gather a whole bunch of different references of different things. Maybe you want to draw a kitchen and you reference chairs from one image of a kitchen and you reference other furniture from another picture. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to build up a scene from scratch, but for that I need an idea. So I'm just gonna do something random to demonstrate all of this shit. So artprompts.org, or was it .com? No wait, was it .com? It's org. There's a lot of different options here. What we need is some sort of situation and an environment. It's so convenient that I know this site. An ancient temple that is overgrown. That's actually pretty cool. I like drawing these overgrown environments. Now what we need is a situation. His eyes grow wide with the realization of what you have done. Sounds good, my dude. Should we also do a character? Modern assassin. So maybe this modern assassin has murdered somebody and this other character is surprised and his eyes grow wide because he realizes that the modern assassin has just murdered his buddy, and it all takes place in an ancient temple. Very nice. Now, I used to have some sort of disregard for Pinterest, but I've found out that it's actually quite a useful tool for finding reference material for your artwork. And I use it all the time, so I recommend it. You can build your own library of things that inspire you and your art. I'm gonna look for some sort of temple references. Now, there's this great free tool. I'm doing a lot of promotion of things today. There's this great free tool called PureRef, which I use all the time. It's basically like an endless board, like an endless canvas that you can place all your images on and move them around as you like, or resize them or rotate them, or do anything you like with them, and you will never run out of space, and you can zoom in and zoom out and shit. If you have two monitors at your disposal, this is really good to have open on your second monitor while you work. You can just separate the things, put them into different sections and stuff. Now I've gathered myself a bunch of pics here. I like various things about each of them, so I think this is good enough to start out with. Now let's get our ass into Photoshop, I mean. And this leads me to section number 2. I know that a lot of people have trouble with perspective and they hate it and shit, but it's actually quite simple when you break it down. First thing you gotta do is figure out where your horizon line is. If you are close to the ground and are looking up at the scene, then the horizon line will be low. If you are standing tall and are looking down at the scene, if you're a big boy, then the horizon line will be up. Basically, just decide where it's gonna be as the first thing. Now, what you need next is a perspective grid. And there's multiple ways to prepare one. You could make one yourself, or you could get one from Google Images. I'm gonna show you what I typically do myself. So I use this brush set by Jonas Darrow. It's free to download. I'm gonna put it in the description. It's great. There's this vanishing point brush in here, which just does this. You can just have a grid with one click. It's very convenient. Just zoom the fuck out and put one point over here. Let's do a 2-point perspective and then one on the other side. So now we've got our ass a 2-point perspective grid. You can also do more than 2 points. You could do 3, or after 3 it's gonna get more complicated to work with, but it is possible to do like 5-point perspective. Now we are working in a 2-point perspective. It's always easy to demonstrate with boxes, simple boxes. Even if you don't have like box shaped objects and these geometrical shapes in your scene, it's still very useful to have a perspective grid as a guide. So you have this virtual ground plane now. I'm just doing some sort of ground texture to highlight it. So there is a wall. Let's say there's a wall of some sort. Walls aren't perfect. There gotta be some imperfections and stuff in the wall. Now everything that's facing this direction is gathering into this vanishing point over there, and stuff that's going there is going into this other vanishing point. It's quite simple. So we've also got the ceiling, maybe some shit hanging from the ceiling, some leaves. So this is how you use the grid. You just make sure the fucking lines go into the vanishing points. I'm using this particular line over here. Make sure the heights of these doors are the same. I'm gonna do some maybe big rocks. Make sure you follow the grid. You just gotta think in 3D space. You gotta get your 3D thinking going if you want to succeed at this. Think in 4 dimensions. Usually you should actually think of how the characters are going to be incorporated into the scene too before you start drawing the whole scene. The background, I mean. I didn't do that here because I'm making a tutorial and I forget things. Everything that's above this horizon line is going to be viewed from below, like this. It's going to be viewed from below. But if your thing is below the horizon line, you're gonna see it from above. It's that simple. Since this is above the horizon line, we're gonna be seeing this lower plane of this fucking thing. Man, my sketch is very messy. You probably don't even understand what the fuck this is supposed to be. And yeah, things get smaller in the distance. I like to draw walls, just do some rough lines on the walls that follow the perspective grid. It's an easy way to make it clear that that is a flat surface. And also on the ceiling. And now we've mimicked some sort of fake 3D scene. So basically this is how you follow perspective. Just follow the damn lines, dude. Now, the purpose of composition is telling a story by placing or laying out the elements of the scene in a way that would best communicate what you're trying to say with the piece. What we're trying to say with this piece is there's this modern assassin that has just murdered our main character's friend. So how would we display that through the composition? Now, I've already finished this background. Don't do what I did. I just made this scene for demonstration of perspective, but I still want to use it because I kind of like it. Usually you should think of this before you start drawing the background. I'm a terrible teacher, guys. There's many techniques and tricks and methods to composition, but I'm gonna talk about some simple ones. The most basic, easy thing to follow is the rule of thirds. So what the rule of thirds is, it's basically just splitting your image up into 9 equal parts, and the human eye focuses most on what is happening in the intersections of these parts. What we can do is, I guess, place our character, the modern assassin, in here. He's gonna be holding some sort of blade. I don't know. It doesn't seem very modern to use a blade. You should use a gun. Now let's place the dead body here in the middle. And the second guy is going to be here in this section. He's gonna be looking at what just happened and being like, oh my god. He's gonna be yelling. These are sound lines. Another thing which you could do with this grid is basically just ensuring that the image has equal visual weight throughout the sections. So what I've got here is these panels, these blocks of stone on the ground, and up here we have this temple construct thing. They sort of balance each other out. However, there's a lot of emptiness down here, and up here there's some more stuff. Maybe we can add like some sort of rocks or rubble or something in this section over here. I don't really feel like adding much detail in the sketch phase. I like to render things out when I paint. Maybe we can do like a very foreground-ish element in here. We've got some more balance in the composition now. I'm gonna continue talking about composition, different aspects to composition in the next part. It's gonna be merged with the next part, which is... But before I talk about lighting, I'm just gonna render the characters out a bit more because they're just stick figures. Now that we've sketched the characters out, you can already see a lot of emotion in the scene already. A lot of emotion. Now this is going to be sort of a dark shot, I figure, since this is a temple, abandoned temple and all. Doesn't really look much like a temple, it just looks like a dungeon of some sort, but whatever's, dude. So what you do here is you just guess what the values are going to be like in different sections and just block shit in accordingly. I don't really know what kind of light source I'm going with, so we need a light source that would highlight what is happening in here. Maybe just there's one of these holes in the ceiling here. I was thinking of having some sort of light come through the ceiling like in this reference, so that's what I'm probably gonna go with. The rest of it, you just block it in roughly. Basically, the more distant something gets, the darker it gets in here. So it's gonna be real dark and back there, since that's not really important either. What we need to emphasize on with this background are these characters. So the rest is going to be sort of dark. We don't really need to see what's going on in the back there. Just do some sort of rough values here. The light is coming from this direction, so you can't really see the face of the assassin very well, but you can see the face of the agony dude. You can also use the lighting as sort of a composition element of sorts, I guess. Human eyes are drawn to light naturally, so that's where you always look first. You will look in here. Whoa, buddy. Whoa there, son. Whoa, how did this happen? If you want to do cool light rays, you can just use the motion blur. Okay, so this is the lighting I'm going with. We made this foreground element before. Let's make that the darkest of all. I'm doing this all in black and white just to have a general idea of what the lighting is going to be like. The biggest points of contrast attract the most attention. The characters are going to have the most contrast of all things in this image. So when I add in these shadows and stuff, it definitely starts catching the eye a lot more. Maybe increase the contrast a bit. Lighting is also sort of the mood setter of your drawing. It will hugely affect like what kind of a vibe your drawing will be giving off. So in this case, we've got this single light source from above, so it implies it's sort of a daytime or a noontime shot, but it's underground where you can't see any of it, so it's sort of mysterious. Would this have been fully lit with like torches or something, would have looked a lot different. Just gotta think about the setting and the lighting a bit beforehand. Lighting tips and tricks. If there's like a really strong light in the picture where there isn't much light elsewhere, then this light is going to bounce, very lightly bounce off to other objects. So there's this bush type of thing here, going to have some of this light be reflected onto it. The purpose of doing things in black and white beforehand, or just planning the things out in black and white, is because you would just know what kind of range of values you are going to use in each section. And values are oftentimes more important than color. So now that the values are down, we can just colorize our shit just a bit. To keep the values in place, you can set your brush to color mode. It uses the color information, but not the lightness information. You know what? I don't like this color. Feel free to experiment with colors. Colors also affect the mood of your pick. Things, however, lose color when things get darker. You don't see color in the darkness. I like using the burn tool and the dodge tool. And we can use the dodge tool in here. There's this big ass point of contrast here in this corner, so it's a bit distracting. So we can smooth this out. Okay, that's pretty nice. I don't know why the fuck they're all naked though. Well, this guy is... Oh wait, actually, I'm gonna give him some pants. I don't care. I'm using some cracks in the ground to sort of point towards this dead guy, some darker parts of the ground. Think about how you could utilize this environment you're dealing with. Sometimes you might not like what the colors you end up with, so feel free to play around with them until you get what you want. I like using the curves filter. I think I'm gonna add in some yellow. Perhaps we can add in some, I don't know, some of that gore in here to show what has happened to the man. We've got this good starting point now to a picture. You could start rendering away on things from here. Very emotional picture. I think it conveys the message very well. A surprised man is surprised at a dead man who is surprised at a gun. Damn, there's some dark themes in this episode of Chala. Another lighting tip and trick is you can make a new layer and set its blending mode on add and use a big ol' soft brush. Make some cool light effects to enhance your shit a bit. Maybe we can enhance this light ray. This was a cool walkthrough. However, I think I could have demonstrated some things a bit better. I will do a short summary with some examples from other pieces I have made. I think everybody remembers this piece. So here's the pure ref project I had for this picture. Here's all the references and stuff I used for this picture and inspirations and stuff. I used the 1 point perspective. I have the vanishing point here, right in the middle. So all the prominent lines in this picture point right towards the head of the character. Otherwise, this big ol' light just catches your attention first, but everything in this picture is very rendered out and detailed. So after you look at the light, you start looking around in the picture in the darker areas and exploring and stuff. So that's what I had in mind with this picture. Very similar lighting setup to this one actually. So this is one picture that I'm working on, which is also just in the planning things out stage right now. I used some cool composition tricks in here. So first of all, I think this is big splash of color here catches people's eyes first, and then you sort of start moving downwards. You see this character painting the thing. There's this shadow on the wall which is pointing towards the left, which leads you to all the cans on the ground and shit, which leads you up to the second character. Notice how I used all of the directional shadows to point towards where I want. So it leads you to the second character here, which leads your eye upwards to this tree sort of thing, which points towards the third character on the roof of the thing. And then the circle sort of resets, start going down again here. That's basically all I've got to say for now. This is how I usually approach doing pictures with characters and backgrounds. I know this was not that much of a tutorial. It was just me drawing a picture while struggling to explain what I'm doing. I hope it was of help for at least one of y'all. Then I'm happy. Man, this is very cheesy. Now I'm gonna use some big contrast to highlight my point here. Facts, guys. This looks like a YouTube thumbnail or some shit. I should just increase the size of this, and it's already a thumbnail.